Hey everyone, you're about to hear a synopsis of the movie Sneakers. Enjoy! Brandon shoots a toy gun pretending it's a real gun. In fact, he's never even been in a real fight because he's so fast. Kids at school constantly make fun of Brandon for his tattered shoes. He has two friends, the girls' favorite, Rika and Albert. He thinks he's an R&B genius and hawks his CDs on the street. Dude, no one wants to buy my CDs because you... Wait! Brandon's friends wear Jordans. I wish he had those cool sneakers. No one takes this fast kid seriously. Not the girls, not the guys from the neighborhood. At school, he saw one of the guys wearing his first Jordans, red and black. The best sneakers he could ever dream of. Brandon stopped by a sneaker store. Excuse me? What? Do you have a size 7? They don't make kids' sizes. The sneakers Brandon was interested in cost a whopping $350. At home, the boy found a card with the money his mother had saved for his birthday. He also opened the piggy bank and got a job. He sold chocolate bars to passers-by. After a while, Brandon managed to save up the required amount. But he didn't make it to the store. Some dealer spat. You look like SNK Will Smith. So slow, buddy. Check it out, man. Look what I got. Daryl opened the car and showed him the boxes of Nikes. He's got some real exclusive stuff here. Just what Brandon needed. The boy had finally fulfilled his dream. Now he had those very same Jordans on his feet. And he can finally throw away his rags. His friends think he stole those sneakers. After all, they're worth a fortune. But Brandon told them he only paid $150 for them. The trio stormed into the store to steal some lemonade. Today, Brandon's life has completely changed. I need to buy those sneakers, they're cool. Girls suddenly started asking him about them. Where did you buy those sneakers? I like them. This girl invited Brandon to a party. This had never happened to him before. His friends give him advice before his first date. If you want to shave your balls, be careful. Don't shake them. It hurts. Brandon takes great care of his sneakers. He even eats so much that not a drop of urine gets on them. But then, on the way home, the schoolboy runs into some thugs. Hey bro, do you have any change for 5? Where did you get those sneakers? Didn't your mom buy you one, bro? The crowd surrounded Brandon and pushed him to the pavement. The thugs started to bully the kid and film him. But worst of all, they wanted to take his sneakers. The leader shot Brandon in the head to stop him from resisting. The schoolboy had no choice but to comply. Flassa also threatened him with a gun. Finally, the thugs left, leaving Brandon lying on the ground in his socks. The sad boy threw his scattered belongings into a backpack and trudged home barefoot. All he had left was the box of his wonderful Jordans. In the morning, his whole body ached, but at least he hadn't broken his ribs. Brandon went outside in his mom's slippers. After all, he'd thrown his old sneakers on the power lines. His friends, to put it mildly, weren't supportive. There wasn't a single bruise on his face, which meant he wasn't even a weakling. The boy had decided he'd never become a man, if he lets himself be bullied again. First, Brandon attacked Rick. Now he's determined to find that gangster. But Flocka is a total scumbag, constantly robbing and beating up schoolchildren. The first thing Brandon did was turn to Albert's brother, Treff. Why the hell does a kid like you want to know where a psycho like Flocka is? Treff advised the kid to just forget about the sneakers and save up for new ones. And if he really needs to, he can ask his Uncle Marlene. Brandon saw one of those thugs on the basketball court. Hey babe, I know you have $1. Give me $1. Dude, leave her alone. Brandon shoplifted some flip-flops. He no longer talks to friends who don't take him seriously. But now he's going to show them what he's made of. The schoolboy grabbed a basketball and threw it at the thug's head. The friends immediately jumped on the kid's back. They dragged Brandon aside before they could tear his head off. The friends realized the scoundrel was serious. They went with him to the gangster section of town to find Flack. The gangster, meanwhile, gave the stolen Jordans to his son, even though he's still a long way from being able to match them. Uncle Marlin lives in the same neighborhood as Flack. He's a truly bad man. He spent a long time in prison and was only recently released. The boys are shaking because they've ended up in the very back of the ghetto. It's populated entirely by criminals. But two thugs recognized Brandon and greeted him. Finally, Marlene showed up. He hadn't seen his nephew in a long time, but he wished he hadn't seen these two brats. Marlene recently had a son. A loaded gun lay next to the baby on the bed. Brandon told him he was having problems with Flacca. Marlene remembered that Flacca had worked for him for a while, but he wouldn't help Brandon. Marlon used to do business with his best friend. The guy was like a brother to him, but one day he decided to screw him over. Upon learning this, Marlene instantly blew his friend's mind. If his nephew wants to solve the problem, he has to do it himself. No one pulled the trigger for Marlene. Then some nervous guy burst into the house, taking a dislike to these two kids. He started threatening them with a gun. Brandon took advantage of the confusion and stole his uncle's pistol. Suddenly, a shot rang out. The idiot almost killed one of the school children. "Where's Brandon?" "I'm here. I told you to get out of here, kid." Brandon's new friends invited him to go for a ride with them. They were sure to run into Flacca. Meanwhile, the young father pulled on his sneakers and followed him to the basketball court. The boys were dropped off at some apartment, where they were promised girls, booze, and other joys of adulthood. Gordo couldn't take his eyes off the spotty young man. He plucked up his courage and took the girl into the room, and then she took matters into her own hands. "Gordo, you better not get pregnant there." Brandon had a blast, but it was time to get to work. He still wanted his sneakers back. The school children were brought to a local thug hangout. They were putting on a drift show in their cars. Soon Flacca showed up with his gang and his son, James. Brandon was having fun until he noticed a bandit and his sneakers on some little kid. He immediately ran after Flack and his son. A brawl broke out between the thugs and Uncle Marlin's friends. During the showdown, one of the thugs was fatally struck by a car. The entire crowd scattered. Someone started making jokes about it and filming the dead loser. Flack ordered his son to run home. The school children began chasing the boy. Meanwhile, Flack tracked down and shot Uncle Marlin's friends. Jay returned home and settled down to watch TV. Brandon was determined to break into Flack's house and get his sneakers back no matter what. His friends refused to go with him. This was too much. By then, Jay had fallen asleep. Brandon tried to stealthily retrieve his shoes, but the boy suddenly opened his eyes. The friends stood guard and managed to hide at the last moment when the thug returned home. Brandon yelled at Jay and even pointed a gun at him. Hearing Flacca return, he asked the boy not to give him away. "Why are you so quiet?" "There's someone in the house." Flacca pulled out his gun and went looking for the intruder.